For those that have never seen the movie The Dark Crystal, essentially, there are two groups of people, or beings, or creatures. One is the mystics, gentle, kind, promotes the teaching of shapes and wisdom, etc. And then there's these vulture-like creatures who force people that they capture into looking at this dark crystal, and they suck the life force and the energy and the essence of these beings, these other beings of the realm, into their own being so that they can drink the life force of these slaves to become young again. And it's very interesting because the spiritual message behind this, there's much more to the story, of course, but the spiritual message behind this is that if you're not careful, you're going to get taken away by these vultures who feed off of your fear and feed off of your essence by putting you into fear and your programming, to the point in which they will extract your life essence to become young again. And while this made me think a lot about aging and what it really means to age, which we'll get into in a minute, but first, it just goes to show how retarded the system really is, and how people who are perhaps alchemists or mystics, if you follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, all of the people who claim to know Jesus Christ and claim that, oh, I know this, I know that, the same people that claim to know Jesus Christ are the same ones that will condemn you for practicing exactly what he's talking about, according to the gospel stories. And when you look out at society and you see all of the religions and the immature people that are sprang from these, they're not even blossoming. They're like weeds. You know, sometimes, I'm not sure if anybody ever had a garden before, but you ever had a garden and there's these weeds that just pop up and pop up and pop up no matter how many times you pull out the weed. What do you have to do? At a certain point, what do you have to do to the field or to whatever in order to get rid of those weeds? Well, you got to burn the soil. You got to cleanse it. This is one of the reasons why forest fires are actually, they're not, I mean, of course there's some that are going to be unnatural, which of course are not good, but all natural fires in the forest are usually pretty helpful for the society, or the ecosystem rather, inside. You can think about it as a society, I suppose, but the ecosystem inside the forest. And so this goes to show that sometimes there are going to be things that continue to pop up and continue to pop up where you feel as though you're the crazy one. You feel like you're the crazy one for having to continue to deal with this and deal with this and deal with this and deal with this. Meanwhile, religions, ideologies, demagogueries, dogmatic behaviors and dogmatic ideals, these are all, I don't even know if a dogma can be an ideal. I suppose it could be, but all of these things are fake and retarded. And I'm almost under the impression now, I don't even suppose that's the correct wording, but I don't necessarily think all of the Epstein stuff is true. I think a lot of it is completely unable to be verified. Like, who are we going to trust here? We're gonna look to the government as our source of data points? Really? After everything that they've done, After all that they've told us and lied to us about over the God knows however long, the society that we live in, I cannot take it seriously. These people are not mature. They're very immature. And it's simply costing me to the point in which people are asking me to help them and to save them, essentially. And I want to help, and I want to help these people, but they're just a weed. They're like, oh, help me unpluck the weeds. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll help you unpluck the weeds. And then we get the weed out. Oh, help me unplug the weeds again. It's like, no, wait a second here. Sometimes there's going to be weeds that you're just going to have to burn it. You're just going to have to. Fire can be a cleansing. And sometimes being able and committed to the process requires a form of destruction. This is not to say that you should be violent. It's not to say that you should go hurt people or anything like that. I don't know where some of y'all get these indications from that I'm for violence. I'm not for violence at all. We have to fight socioeconomically when it comes to this spiritual war that we are fighting. And even, I don't even like saying that, because your body can operate interdimensionally. Your body is an electromagnetic satellite in which your consciousness can operate in different dimensions. You get to choose which dimension you want to be in, for all intents and purposes. And this is where the aging thing comes into play, right? Because think about this. If everybody is sacrificing for future generations and they've convinced you that, oh, you need to have generational wealth and generational this and that and all this stuff, and I think that that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but what exactly are you sacrificing for? And if you're sacrificing for these people, and allegedly the people before you sacrificed for you to be here, who the fuck is living, man? Who exactly is alive? If everybody is on somebody else's timeline trying to project into the future, whatever it is, who the fuck is living? Who exactly is alive? Nobody. That's why everybody's aging so crazily nowadays. Nobody is aging appropriately. And I've often wondered about this, and I've thought about what exactly aging is, because if you look at the Bible, for example, you'll see Adam lived like 900 years, Noah lived like whatever, 150 or 250, whatever, some odd years. A lot of people that were older in the Bible, they lived like hundreds of years. And at first you look at that and you're like, now are they talking about an age, like the age of Adam, like where him and his descendants were? Like, are they talking about a chronological timeline of what happened during the time of Adam? Or are they actually talking about like a person named Adam? Or are they talking about what it would be like symbolically for someone like Adam to live? Like, how exactly is this the case? Christians don't ask these questions. I'm not even saying that like you should think a certain way about this. I'm just saying people don't even ask these types of questions. They don't even see reality at all. They're just living. They're not even living. They're existing. They're just existing. They're phenomenon. They're a phenomenon. And a lot of these people are takers. A lot of these people are leeches. And a lot of these people are so repressed that they don't even know how to love themselves. And honestly, it's sad. It's sad to watch and it's sad to look at, but that's just the way that it is for a lot of these people out here. And you'll see that there's a bunch of different types of people projecting their repression onto other people and then claiming. Sometimes people, though, they are pretending to be asleep, and you can't wake these people up because they're pretending to be asleep. You cannot wake anybody up who is acting as if they can't see what's really going on. And that's the most insidious part of this stuff, is sometimes these people trick themselves into being an NPC and retarded. We're not the crazy ones. And I don't even want to associate myself with we anymore. Like, who exactly is we? Who exactly is I? Who exactly is, because the thing is that people just don't ask themselves these questions. I know who I am, but I also know enough to know that my identity is very loose. I am not rigid in anything, really. I don't need to be, and I don't have to be, because change is ever present. And to consider otherwise, I think is foolish. I think it's foolish to consider that everything is already set in stone. Now, it's not to say that there are not important things that are going on in the world, and there are not important things that we ought to be paying attention to, but for the most part, everybody's looking at the dark crystal, getting their soul sucked away from them, and they don't even realize it because they're worshiping false idols, they're worshiping religion, they're worshiping politics. I mean, you really have to be the lowest of the low to worship all like politics and to be involved with politics, in my view. I just don't. There's no way anything beautiful can grow amongst the realm and domain of politics. Politics is like those vultures in the Dark Crystal movie. Politics, I mean, they even have an emperor to elect at the very beginning, right? At the very beginning, they have an emperor to elect. And you look at these vulture creature things and just the way that they behave, they're all so hungry for power. They're also hungry for the vitality. They want to just drink the essence of these slaves. It's a beautiful metaphor, but also a horrifying one. I mean, it's insane. But then you see the mystics who are wise and gentle, and they don't really reach out to anybody, but if somebody reaches out to them, they're going to be there. And I think that that's, generally speaking, a good way to tell that you have a friend. And I don't even like to say friend anymore. I have people that I build with, and I have people that I don't. I don't really have friends. And the reason is because I've just seen too much. I've just seen too much at this point where people I thought were my friends, when I share what's going on, there's a smirk underneath. As soon as I'm vulnerable with these types of people, there's a smirk. They're like happy that I'm finally, like, they're happy that I'm losing. And it's like, did you just smirk? Did you just, you sicko, like you liar, you betrayer. Nobody knows loyalty anymore. Look, this is why I don't think anybody's really crazy, is because society teaches you to be crazy. And then when you choose not to be crazy, when instead you choose to be on the line between madness and genius, all of a sudden people don't know how to handle you. They want your essence. I had 3 compliments today at the gym. What the for no real, like, I wasn't doing anything special. I mean, I was doing things that people weren't doing, but I'm not like the super ripped guy there. Like, I'm not the most ripped guy. I just know how to train my body differently than other people. And so I'm doing things that normal people don't usually do. And then I'm just being. I don't really talk to people much. I just focus on what I'm doing because I just like when I'm in that masculine form. And especially today, I'm transmuting a lot of stuff into light right now. And so, whoa. When I said that, there were like 5 birds that flew across the window. But yeah, so I'm transmitting a lot of this stuff into light right now. And I'm letting go of a lot of things. And I'm learning how to grieve, not even necessarily to grieve, but like to accept endings more. And I'm learning that sometimes it's not about shutting people out to like get at them. It's to learn your own lesson. Like once you learn your own lesson, that's when you can walk away. You don't walk away to put somebody else in a terrible position. You don't do that. You walk away when you learn your lesson. We have to be more selfish. And again, there's that word we and selfish, right? People don't know what selfish really means. To be selfish is to be as if you were more of yourself. And I think that that's something that is the greatest fight that we could ever possibly fight. Because spiritual warfare, like I was going to build up to this, right? Spiritual warfare only exists on timelines that you believe that it exists. If you operate inwardly from a place of timelessness, spiritual warfare, it exists. But again, you don't have to be in that dimension of timelines. You can exist beyond that dimension of timelines. And you can choose this. And your body, yes, is going to still be a vessel. We're still going to be in this physical plane. But your consciousness doesn't need to operate in that physical plane if it doesn't have to. And people will ask, well, what do you mean by that exactly? At this point, I'm not going to explain many of these things because I've already explained them. And you can go check out my videos and you can really see what I'm about. And you can see what I have to say and why I say the certain things that I do. And also, if you really want to know, don't just demand things from me. I'm not a jukebox. I'm not a spiritual jukebox for anybody. This is not the way that it works. If you really want to have a dialogue or a conversation, or you really want to do a life transformation, schedule a one-on-one with me, or participate in the Godlike Mastery offer that I have. That's where you can get the most amount, because I'm not doing the Regal Change Academy anymore for the time being. I'm closing it starting March 15th. And the reason is because it's completed. It's done what it's needed to do. I've been able to test and to share a lot of these ideas and such. And we're now to a point to where it's completed. What I set out to do with it, at first, I thought I was failing. But then I realized it's like, oh, it's not actually a failure. It's just a completion. It's a closing of one chapter in the book. And just because one chapter ends doesn't really mean the book is over. I'm still here. You're still here. We have more to recognize in this life. And I genuinely feel as though I'm making more of a significant impact in people's lives through one-on-ones and the Godlike Mastery offer that I have than in the Regal Change Academy at this point. I don't think that, it's not to say that I don't want to continue the Regal Change Academy sometime down the line, but at this point in time, I'm making more of a significant impact with people that are willing to see the value before the cost. And what I've noticed with the Regal Change Academy is a lot of people see the cost before they see the value. And they don't understand the difference. They just see the cost. And it's like, okay, well, if you can't see the value here, like, here's the thing that I've also realized recently. People who operate from an inward place of timelessness, they see value before they see cost. People who operate in the world, they see cost before they see value. In the same type of way, people operating from an inward place of timelessness, they see observation and verification over assumptions and juxtapositions and contradictions. They just observe, they don't absorb. And the people who operate from an inward place of timelessness, their souls are too on fire to really care too much about the world. And this is why we have to ask ourselves, well, how much do we actually have to participate in the world then? What exactly do we have to do? How exactly do we have to do it? Why exactly ought we to participate in the world but not be of it? How exactly does that work? How much compromise do we really need to have? And I've seen a lot of people talk about render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. It's like, okay, well, but what if Caesar's, like, what if you're rendering under Caesar what is Caesar's, but really you're just looking at the dark crystal and you're giving Caesar your life force? You know, what then? What then? What if render under Caesar what is Caesar's and under God what is God's? Well, what if they're trying to take your life force? What if they're trying to take your life essence? How much compromise do you give them then? Do you fight? Well, how do you fight? Well, you fight socioeconomically. This is one of the reasons why I'm much more involved with Bitcoin. This is one of the reasons why I'm much more involved with gold and silver and such. It's because it's hard money. They can't really regulate this stuff as much as they would like to believe they could. Nobody's going to ever really know how much of whatever it is that you have is actually yours, because it's not, even though you can verify certain transactions, nobody can really verify what you own. You know what you own. And that's why the governments and the institutions, everybody hates all this stuff. We're just so screwed because people are so busy staring at the dark crystal and they're like, oh, they're aging faster. They're literally evaporating. I wonder if age, because what do you think age really is? Now that I'm thinking about it, what do you think age really is? Like, what do the people that have this youthful look to them, what exactly is it about them? Well, they have this, they seem to retain water well, right? So I wonder if aging has something to do with, like, it's like literally like a dehydration of the body to some degree, I wonder. I might have to do some more research into that, because that's an interesting thing to think about. Because that's exactly what's happening, like with the dark crystal and the life force energy. Like, you'll see the slaves who are shackled there, they get older. Their life force is drained and then they get older because the fear just blinds them indefinitely. There's probably a really powerful metaphor there, more to be looked at. But the point is that society is just crazy right now. And I think everybody who really believes they know something, I don't think you know anything. Because I know that I know a lot, but I also know that what I know is based on certain data points that can be verified. But perhaps not. I mean, I only go based off of what is verifiable and observable. and what I can experience. That's a high value timeline in of itself. A high value timeline is functioning based off of those qualities. If you're going based off of hypotheticals or assumptions or whatever the case is, that's a low value timeline. Because it's like fiat money. It's like fiat money for your psyche and your spirit. It's just a wazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a woo boo woo boo boo, right? Anybody that's seen Wolf of Wall Street knows what I'm talking about. But that's exactly what it is. If you're functioning only on hypotheticals and what ifs and, well, I know it because, I said so. And I'm going to force you to do it because, well, I know that I'm right. It's like, okay, well, how do you know that you're right? Well, I just know. It's like, okay, well, that's not really convincing me. I'm not really convinced. And I'm not asking you to convince me. I'm just saying I'm not convinced. I'm not saying I don't believe that you believe it, like what you're doing is right. I'm just saying that I'm not convinced, especially if you're forcing somebody into something. Anytime anybody forces people into doing things, I immediately question their true motives. But the unfortunate reality is, if anybody's ever read The Prince by Machiavelli, anybody that's ever read The Prince understands that it's really deceit, strategy, and power that are quote unquote real in the world. Now, I'm not saying that I believe that. I'm just saying that that's just the way that the world operates. That's why the world wants you to believe in order to be good, you have to do not so good things. But this is just the issue that we're coming to. This is the reality of the situation. It's the reality of the construct of the simulation that we're in. And when I say that, sometimes people will, it's just, some people are going to get it, some people are just not. And it's just so amazing that the lengths that people will go to try to misunderstand you intentionally. It's absolutely nuts. And it's the people who are open-minded, who move with wisdom and discernment, and don't spout platitudes every 5 seconds. I swear, if I hear another platitude, or they just copy things. They just copy. They're basically parrots, thinking that they're like horses and such. You know, I wonder if the energy is so crazy because, to some degree, so I've been watching the astrological movements a little bit more closely recently, especially since I've developed more of the timeline theory. And something that I've reached the conclusion of is that it's the watching of the astrological events that plays an impact of your psychology, symbolically speaking. It's not necessarily the things themselves, it's the observation of those things, right? And so I'm seeing that, oh, okay, like I'm getting this more now with the astrology and numerology, for example, right? And so tomorrow, I don't know who knows and who doesn't, but tomorrow's the new moon. And as well as that, we have a solar eclipse coming in tomorrow. So a good way to look at this is that anything that has been buffering in your timelines is probably going to come into fruition tomorrow. That's just the way that, astrologically speaking, if you're observing the patterns and you just observe it and you are letting it impact your psyche the way that it just will. You're not trying to believe in anything. You're not trying to do anything with it. You're just allowing the information to be, and the observation in of itself, to move your psyche. That's what's going to happen, allegedly. Now, that could be why the energy is so potent right now. That could be the reason why the energy is just so bizarre. Because the energy really is bizarre right now. At least for me in the spirit of this time, the energy is very bizarre. And people are more retarded than ever. And sometimes I ask myself, how much more retarded is this society going to get? And then I think to myself, you know what? I don't really want to know. I don't really want to know how much more retarded people can get, because holy smokes, holy Toledo, man. I do not want to know how much more retarded some people can get out here, man. Because it's already pretty crazy. And yeah, I just don't want to know. I just don't want to know. These people are just not mature, and I can't take them seriously. All the people who are so caught up with their countries as well. Oh, like I am, especially Americans, man. Oh, I'm an American. This is the best country in the world. Okay, well, that might be true. It might not be, but let's say that it is true. Why are you so prideful when it comes to this kind of thing? Like what exactly? Because I used to believe, and again, I don't believe anything anymore. I don't believe things. I either know something is or I know something isn't. And what was so funny is something that I found recently is how let's assume that patriotism is good, right? Let's just assume that we can entertain an idea without accepting it, as Aristotle would say, right? So the thing is that when it comes to having a country, I used to believe that it's kind of like a name. It's part of who you are as a country. And to a certain degree, I still think that that's the case. But I think the trick is to realize that countries are just as man-made as anything else in this freaking world. Like it's just a man-made thing. Like they conquered like a group of people conquered something and then claimed it was theirs, which they have every right to do. But that doesn't make it like true, right? It makes it real, but it doesn't really make it true. Because there's a difference in my perspective, in my semantics vocabulary, there's a difference between something that is real and something that is true. Something that is real is a narrative. Something that is true either is or it is not. And it's non-linear. Truth is non-linear. That's why we can look at the ancient texts from thousands of years ago, a variety of different kinds of texts, and see how impactful and beautiful and how timeless they really are. Because sometimes, like, the truth in of itself is timeless. It is. It doesn't need to protect itself because it is what it is. It's like a lion. It is its own weapon. The truth is its own weapon. But I believe, I don't even like that word believe. I don't like that word believe at all, but I don't believe I can know something about truth or I don't. And I can even believe that I know, but that doesn't make it true. And I can believe that I don't know, but that doesn't make it true either. Either way, it can make it real, but it doesn't make it true. What makes something true is, can you embody it and be it in the spirit of the times that you're living in? And can it move you closer to timelessness? Or into timelessness altogether? But I believe such a strange word. Again, this is just a semantics thing, but I've said everything that I've wanted to in this video. I hope that everybody stays blessed out there. I hope that everybody finds this message to be informative as well as useful and insightful. This is not like a, oh, I'm so like, oh. No, I'm very joyful. My joy has not left me at all. It's more the retards that I just like, it's hard to watch. It's not even like, oh, I'm so sad and I'm so upset. It's just like, dude, what are you doing to yourself, dude? You're just destroying you're self-sabotaging. And that's what a lot of people are trained to do. I mean, they're trained to look at the dark crystal, right? And then have their life source energy sucked from them. And then they don't know how to love themselves. And then they blame you, the person who can love themselves, for their own problems. Nuts, dude. Nuts. But I hope everybody stays blessed. Peace. Until next time.